Okay, guys, let's continue. Top line on Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. Elamai. The Gemara is going to ask a question. Elamai. So we just finished off that we have just come to a proof that ad v'lo ad b'chlal, right? Because only if ad v'lo ad b'chlal was there a difference between the Rabbanon and the Rabbi Yehuda. But says the Gemara, Elamai, but rather what? Elamai, rather what? Ad, v'lo ad b'chlal, until, and not including. And ad is not included. You want to tell me like that? This can't be. The second line now, from the top. Ema seifa. But what about the seifa? Seifa, like the word sof, the end. Ema seifa. Look at the end of the Mishnah. It says there, now this is a quote from the Mishnah, you could put like quotation marks around it in your Gemara. V'shel musafin kol hayom. The Chachamim said, and of Musaf you're allowed to daven the whole day. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, and Rabbi Yehuda says, ad sheva shos, until 7 hours. End the quotations. So here we have a statement from the Mishnah. Chachamim said you could daven Musaf the whole day. Rabbi Yehuda says you could daven Musaf until 7 hours. So here again we see the word of ad is used. Ad zayin shos. So does that mean until and including the 7th hour? Or just up until the 7th hour but not including it? So let us see now. The Gemara is going to prove it. Vitanya, the third line down from the top, Vitanya, and it says in the Brisa, Tanya, always remember Tanya, right? Taf nun, it means it's from the Tanaim. Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Hayu lifanav shtei tfilos, if a person has in front of him, Hayu, it was, lifanav, in front of him, shtei tfilos, two tfilos, there were two options about what to daven. Achas shel Musaf, one of Musaf, the achal mincha, and one of mincha. So the halacha is mispalal shel mincha. He davens mincha first, the achar kach, and afterwards shel Musaf, and afterwards of Musaf. Shezu, why? Shezu tadira. This one is frequent. It happens a lot. That's which one is frequent? Mincha. Mincha is frequent. Right? Because it happens every single day. But Musaf, it's not frequent. Vizu eina tadira. Musaf does not happen every day. It happens on Shabbos. It happens on Yom Tif. It happens on Rosh Chodesh. But it's not as common as Mincha. So therefore, there's a rule called Tadir v'she'eno Tadir kodem. Tadir, the frequent one, v'she'eno Tadir. And if it comes up to be against an eno Tadir, a non-frequent one, Tadir, the common one, the frequent one, kodem, comes first. Okay, that's a rule. Those words were not from the Gemara. That's just the name of the rule that the Gemara is using now. That you daven. So therefore, applying that rule, say the Chachamim that if you have a choice between mincha and musaf, which one to daven first, you take mincha first because it is common, it is frequent, and musaf is non-frequent. Okay. Continues the Brisa, that this all was only the opinion of the Chachamim. But Rabbi Yehuda also has opinion about which one you daven first. If a person has in front of them Musaf and a choice of Musaf and Mincha, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Mispal shel Musaf, he says that you daven Musaf, Mispal is the first word on the line, Mispal shel Musaf, V'achar kach shel Mincha, first you daven Musaf, and afterwards, V'achar kach, and afterwards, Shel mincha, you daven mincha. Why? He's going to give his own reason. Right? What happened to the reason of tadir v'she'eno tadir kodem? Rabbi Yehuda also agrees to this rule, that whatever is most frequent really goes first, as a rule. So why does Rabbi Yehuda here hold that musaf goes before mincha, even though it's less frequent? So explains Rabbi Yehuda, shezu overes, this one, the time for it will pass very soon. Vizu eina overes, and this one, the time for it won't pass. Which ones? What do we mean when we say zu overes? The time will pass. This is referring to musaf. For musaf, Rabbi Yehuda says goes just ad zayin shos. is only until 7 hours into the day, which is only a half hour at most. It's a half hour after the time period of mincha starts. But mincha already could be davened according to Rabbi Yehuda ad plaga mincha, which is until 4:45. Vizu eina overes, and this one doesn't pass, right? So that's mincha. So you have a few more hours. You have, in fact, you have, how many more hours is it? So let's say it goes till 1 o'clock is musaf, and 4:45 is mincha. So that's another 3 hours and 45 minutes extra to daven mincha than to musaf. So here Rabbi Yehuda is saying that even though, as a rule, we say tadir v'she'eno tadir kodem, and therefore mincha should go before musaf, but here, since we're concerned that you'll end up missing the time to daven musaf, therefore go right away, chaparain, daven musaf quickly, because musaf you might going to miss out. Person gets all involved in mincha suddenly at 12:30. They start davening mincha. Woo! The guy starts davening so beautifully, and he's davening away, and his eyes are closed, and he's shuckling back and forth. He finishes davening, takes his 3 steps back, takes his bows this way, bows that way, looks at the clock, and he sees, it's 5 minutes to 1 o'clock. He only has 5 minutes left. There's no way for him to daven musaf now. He wanted to daven a whole nice musaf. He's going to miss it. Or even worse, he opens up his eyes and he sees, it's 1 o'clock right now, and it's too late to daven musaf. So therefore, says Rabbi Yehuda, better daven mincha and only afterwards daven musaf. Okay. Now the Gemara that's the end of the quote from the Brisa. Now we're going to see that from here we could prove that when Rabbi Yehuda said ad zayin shos, he meant until and including the 7th hour. In other words, ad b'chlal. Let's see. How come? Now, says the Gemara, I amart bishlama. Now the Gemara is analyzing it. I amart bishlama. If you ad v'chlal, if you say ad b'chlal, it's good. Hainu, this is dimishkachas lahu, that it can be found for him. Shtei tfilos bahadi adadi. There are 2 tfilos together. The time of musaf and mincha overlap each other. Overlap means that you could have it, you could have a choice that should I daven musaf now or should I daven mincha now? It's the time for both of them. Ela'i amart, but if you say ad v'lo ad b'chlal, but if you say ad, but until is not including, so meaning that when Rabbi Yehuda said ad zayin shos, he's meant ad zayin shos, but not including 7 hours, just up until the 7th hour, until Mr. 7th hour. So then Rabbi Yehuda said that you could daven until chatzos. He said you could daven musaf until chatzos, which is midday, which is 12 o'clock, which is still not the time for mincha, because the earliest time to daven mincha is 12:30. So it would turn out that they didn't overlap, and a person would not able to wouldn't even come up a question of should I daven musaf or should I daven mincha? Which one should I daven first? Because by the time musaf is finished, you're still not even able to daven mincha. So if you could daven musaf, still you daven musaf. Once it comes the earliest time to daven mincha, you're already not able to daven musaf. So it would be too late. So says the Gemara, Ela'i amart ad v'lo ad b'chlal. But if you say that ad, but not ad v'lo ad b'chlal, that not including, in other words, not in this case by musaf, that would be telling us that Rabbi Yehuda said until the 7th hour, but not including the 7th hour. Heichi, how? Mishkachas luhu, how does it find to him? Shtei tfilos, 2 tfilos, bahadi hadadi. Bahadi hadadi means that they're together. Heichi mishkachas luhu, shtei tfilos, bahadi hadadi. How does he find 2 tfilos together? Kivan de asyalo shel mincha. What do you mean? Because kivan, since the asya, that it came to him, shel mincha, of mincha, already, azla la shel musafin, already went, musaf, azal means to go. It's a very common word, by the way, it's a good word to know. Azla la shel musafin, went already the time of musaf, because musaf would have finished at 12 o'clock, By the time mincha comes along at 12:30, azallah shal musafin. Musaf is already passed. It's already gone. It ended a half hour ago at 12 o'clock. Says the Gemara, elamai, but so rather, what? Ad v'ad b'chlal. It must be ad v'ad b'chlal. It must be that until, it means until the 7th hour, and including the word when Rabbi Yehuda uses the word ad blank, he always means until blank and including blank. So when he said ad arba shos in the Mishnah regarding shachas, he meant ad arba shos and including it. So ends the Gemara kasha. It's a contradiction now. It's a kasha. Kasha means a question. It's an attacking question. We have a contradiction. In the Reisha, we had a proof. We had one proof that ad v'lo ad b'chlal, right? First we had one proof that ad v'lo ad b'chlal, right? Because what would be the difference between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim if Rabbi Yehuda meant ad v'ad b'chlal, plaga mincha would have gone all the way till, it would have meant all the way till 6 o'clock, which is the same thing as the opinion of the Chachamim, and we knew that can't be. So it must be, from that part of the Mishnah, we could prove ad v'lo ad b'chlal. From the part of mincha, we could prove ad v'lo ad b'chlal. But if you look at the Seifa, the part of the Mishnah that deals with musaf, we could prove that a person could daven, that ad v'ad b'chlal, that until is including. Because only if you say ad v'ad b'chlal did we find that the time for musaf and the time for mincha overlap. And we know that they do overlap because Rabbi Yehuda dealt with a question about which one should I daven first. If I have two tefillos in front of me, if I have a choice, should I daven musaf now or should I daven mincha now? Rabbi Yehuda states his opinion about which one it should be. So from there we see that it's possible to have a situation of I have a question of which one should I daven first, mincha or musaf. Okay, that is the end of sugya 13. I'll stop now. I'll make another recording for the continuation of the Gemara, but I'm going to stop. This is the end of sugya 13. This is the end of where we dealt with in class.